Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the wisdom of Naval Ravikant from his book The Almanack, which is really a guide to building wealth, sure, but more importantly, a life of freedom.
Naval starts with this one seemingly simple idea, but trust me, it completely reframes the whole game of work and life. So what does he actually mean by this? Let's dig in.
All right, so let's break this down. Wealth. That's the big prize, right? It's assets that are out there making money for you even when you're sleeping. Money is just the tool we use to move that wealth around. And status? Well, that's just your position in the social pecking order. It's a zero-sum game. For you to go up, someone else has to go down. Naval says just avoid that game entirely.
You know, most of us get stuck on this path, the one where you trade your time for money. But Naval calls this out for what it is. It's a trap. If your income is directly tied to the hours you put in, you are on a treadmill you can never get off of. You just can't scale it.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to talk about how to get off that treadmill, how to start playing the long game, what Naval calls the 3 levers of wealth, why judgment is your ultimate skill, and then what comes after all of it.
All right, Section 1. Let's get right into it. Escaping the time trap. We're going to look at exactly why that standard 9-to-5 salary model, while it feels safe, is actually broken if you want to build real wealth.
See, the real goal here isn't just about getting a bigger paycheck. It's about owning stuff, equity, right? Pieces of businesses, investments, intellectual property, things that work for you 24/7, completely independent of you clocking in and out. So here's a gut check question for you. Are your inputs and your outputs tightly linked? I mean, if you put in 1 more hour of work, do you get exactly 1 more hour of pay? If the answer is yes, you can't scale. True wealth comes when you finally break that link.
Okay, so if trading time for money is the wrong game to be playing, what's the right one? Well, according to Naval, it's all about playing the long game.
And this is maybe one of the most important ideas in the whole book. He says all the big returns in life, we're talking wealth, relationships, knowledge, you name it, they all come from compound interest. It's not about quick wins. It's about small, consistent efforts that snowball into massive results over decades.
So what does that look like? Well, a huge part of it is playing these long-term games with people you trust. When you do that, you can create way more value together. It becomes what's called a positive sum game, where the goal is to make the pie bigger for everyone, not just fight over who gets which slice.
And this is so critical. You have to choose who you play with really carefully. Naval's advice? Avoid the cynics and pessimists. They just create these self-fulfilling prophecies of failure. You want to surround yourself with rational optimists.
Okay, let's get into the how-to. This is where Naval gives us a specific, really clear formula for building wealth in the modern age.
He boils it down to this powerful formula: accountability plus leverage plus unique knowledge. This is the engine of modern wealth creation. You need all 3. So let's pull each part apart.
First up, unique knowledge. And no, this isn't something you can just learn in the classroom or from a textbook. It's the stuff you learn because you're genuinely, deeply curious about it. It's that unique thing that you're obsessed with. This is where he says no one can compete with you on being you. Because when you're operating from your unique knowledge, it feels like play to you, but it looks like hard work to everybody else. That is your unfair advantage.
Okay, next up is accountability. This is about putting your name on the line, taking business risks publicly. When you do that, sure, you risk failure, but you also get all the upside, the credit, the trust, the equity. Society rewards people who stick their neck out.
And the final piece of the puzzle, leverage. Think of leverage as a force multiplier for your judgment. It's the tool that lets you finally and completely break the link between your time and your money.
You know, back in the day, leverage meant having capital or labor. You know, money and people. And you needed someone's permission to get that. But today, the most powerful levers are totally permissionless. We're talking about code and media. Anybody can use them.
Naval has this awesome way of putting it. An army of robots is freely available to you. They're just sitting there in data centers. And he means software, media, a piece of code or a video you create can work for you 24/7, reaching the entire globe, basically for free. That's leverage.
Okay, so once you have these incredibly powerful levers at your fingertips, one skill becomes absolutely paramount, and that skill is judgment.
This quote about Warren Buffett says it all. He might spend a year thinking and just 1 day acting, but that single action can have an impact that lasts for decades. In this new world, with infinite leverage, your direction is way more important than your speed.
So, how in the world do you actually get better judgment? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You can't just wish for it. Well, Naval has a roadmap for that, too.
He says, forget about the latest business fads or airport books. Instead, go to the source. Build a foundation in these timeless principles: microeconomics, game theory, psychology, all this stuff. These are the mental models that help you see the world as it actually is.
And he makes this great point. Clear thinking is a much better complement than just being smart. The goal isn't to sound complex or use a bunch of jargon, it's to understand things so fundamentally that you can think for yourself and explain it simply. Clarity is the goal. And that brings us to our final section, which is arguably the most important one. We've talked all about how to get rich, but the real question is, what's it all for? What's the point? Naval is crystal clear about this. Money solves your money problems. Full stop. It's a fantastic tool for getting rid of external stress, but it is not going to make you happy. It can't buy you internal peace.
I love this quote. Retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. He totally redefines the goal here. It's not about an age or a certain amount of money in the bank. It's about reaching a state where you're free to just live in the now.
And he lays out 3 ways you can get to this kind of retirement. 1, you can have your passive income cover all your spending. 2, you could just lower your spending to basically 0, become a monk. Or 3, and this is the holy grail, you find something you love doing so much that it doesn't even feel like work anymore. Because at the end of the day, that's the real prize. It's freedom. Freedom from worrying about money, yeah, but more than that, freedom to spend your time how you want, and the freedom to just be your authentic self.
So, as we wrap this up, the question to leave you with is this. Now that you have these tools, these principles of unique knowledge, accountability, and leverage, what long-term positive-sum game are you going to choose to play?